The stock market can feel like a totally chaotic, irrational casino, right? But what if you could actually profit from all that madness instead of just being another one of its victims? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to break down the timeless wisdom of Benjamin Graham's classic, The Intelligent Investor, into a clear, actionable mindset you can use in today's wild financial world.
And this quote right here, this really gets to the heart of it. This is the central theme for everything we're about to talk about. The sillier the market gets, the bigger your opportunity becomes. See, the market's foolishness isn't a threat to be scared of. It's your single greatest chance to profit. That is, if you have the right framework.
Okay, so to profit from this folly, you first have to know what it looks like in the wild. And honestly, there is no better example than the dot-com bubble back in the late 1990s. That was a time when speculation just completely ran off the rails. Look at this number, -94%. This tells a powerful story, let me tell you. Back in 1999, some TV analyst picked 10 tech stocks he called winners for the new world. So let's say you got swept up in the hype and invested $10,000. Well, just a few years later, you'd have less than $600 left, a 94% loss. That is a perfect and painful example of what happens when hype completely replaces analysis. And the media was just pouring gasoline on the fire. There was this Ameritrade ad in '99, you might remember it, featuring a housewife who, after just a couple of clicks on her computer, shouts, "I think I just made about $1,700. This kind of thing promoted a really dangerous fantasy, that trading was easy, that it was effortless, and that it was your ticket to instant riches. It basically turned a serious discipline into a national video game. And this right here illustrates the core mistake everyone was making. People were confusing getting lucky in the short term with having a good strategy. It's kind of like bragging that driving 130 miles per hour worked just because you happened to survive the trip. Graham warns us that this is a timeless and absolutely deadly trap. A reckless gamble might pay off once in a while, but over time it is always a losing game.
So this all leads us to Benjamin Graham's most fundamental question, a distinction he said was all but forgotten. Are you an investor or are you a speculator? Because the answer to that question changes absolutely everything.
See, an investor, they're buying a piece of an actual business. They're asking, what is this company really worth? A speculator, on the other hand, is just betting on which way the price is going to wiggle. They're just asking, will this stock go up? One is focused on business reality, the other is focused on market perception. They are two completely different games. And to make it super clear, Graham gave us this really strict definition to follow. An investment has to have three things. 1, thorough analysis. 2, safety of your initial capital. And 3, a satisfactory, not spectacular, but adequate return. If what you're doing doesn't meet all three of those criteria, it's not investing. By definition, it's speculation. This is the bedrock principle. So how in the world do you deal with the market's wild price swings? Well, Graham came up with this brilliant little story to help us visualize it. He wants you to meet your imaginary business partner, Mr. Market. On his good days, Mr. Market is just on top of the world. He's totally euphoric and he'll offer you absurdly high prices for your shares. For instance, take the tech company Inktomi in early 2000. Investors were so euphoric, they were willing to pay 250 times the company's annual revenues for its stock. Just incredible. But then, his mood just completely flips. On his bad days, Mr. Market is panicked, terrified, and he'll offer to sell you his shares for pennies on the dollar. So just 2 years after that euphoric high, investors would only pay 0.35 times revenues for that exact same company, Inktomi. The business was pretty much the same, but Mr. Market's mood had completely collapsed.
And this is the whole point. This is the big secret. Mr. Market is there to serve you, not to guide you. You are totally free to just ignore him completely. But his manic-depressive mood swings create these amazing opportunities. You can sell to him when he's ecstatic, and you can buy from him when he's terrified. The choice is always yours.
So if the market's mood isn't really the problem, then what is? Well, Graham argues that the real battle isn't with Mr. Market out there, it's with the person you see in the mirror. This is honestly one of Graham's most profound insights. He believed that having the right temperament, the right emotional control, was far more important than any complex financial formula. The biggest risk in investing doesn't come from your stocks, it comes from your own behavior. And what's wild is modern neuroscience totally backs him up. Our brains are literally hardwired for speculation. When we see a pattern, like a stock price going up, our brain thinks it's going to happen again, and it rewards us with this little chemical hit of dopamine. It makes us feel good, which reinforces the behavior, even if that trend is just random noise. This is the biological pull of the herd that we have to fight against. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves from a volatile market and our own flawed psychology? Graham gives us one final, absolutely indispensable tool. He called it the central concept of investment.
The margin of safety is simply a buffer. It's the gap between what a business is truly worth, its fundamental value, and the price you actually pay for it. So, let's say you do your analysis and figure a company is worth $100 a share. You don't buy it at 99. No, you wait until Mr. Market is depressed and offers it to you for, say, 60 bucks. That $40 difference, that is your margin of safety. It protects you if you made a mistake in your analysis or if the world just throws you a curve.
And you have to get this. The price you pay today is the single most critical factor in determining your future returns. You can buy a fantastic company, but if you pay too high a price for it, it's a recipe for poor results. But paying a fair price for a great business, that's good. And paying a wonderful cheap price for one, well, that's even better.
Now, this slide shows you just how devastating it can be to ignore that margin of safety. JDS Uniphase was a dot-com darling. If you bought it at its absolute peak in March 2000, even if you somehow managed to earn a fantastic 10% return every single year after its crash, it would still take you over 43 years just to get your original money back. 43 years! Overpaying can literally set you back for decades.
And this brings us right back around full circle. Real financial risk isn't about market volatility or owning so-called risky stocks. It's about your behavior. It's about your willingness to overpay for excitement, your urge to follow the herd, your weakness in letting Mr. Market be your master. The type of investor you are is the single greatest factor in your results.
So Graham's wisdom can really be summed up in a personal commitment, like a contract you make with yourself, the intelligent investor's contract. It's about refusing to let the crowd make your decisions. It's about never buying just because prices are up or selling just because they're down. It's about taking control, focusing on the business, and being disciplined. It's really about deciding for yourself what kind of investor you're going to be.
And that leaves us right back at the question we started with. The market's folly, that's a constant. It will always, always be there. But now you have the framework to see it for what it is, an opportunity. So the only real question left is, will you profit from folly or will you participate in it?